What's up, guys? What is going on? As you can see, I brought a special guest with me today, Rich from TSR Sports and Entertainment, and we are kicking off the YouTube interview series with my man, the TSR, the sports react. I was gonna say the sports
I
reaction,
just need
but
a sports reaction. People still call me that. That's okay.
so we are gonna kick this series off, man, and I think this is gonna be a good. I think this is gonna be fun. This will be a good time. We're just gonna dive right into this. So how are you doing, man? How you been through all this craziness that's been the last year?
I'm good. It's kind of funny. You look at our backgrounds. You got a Patriots and a Giants fan hanging out. Which,
I
let's
know
be
you
honest,
figured we'd be
well,
fighting by now.
it's not a huge rivalry in the NFL, but it's definitely there's some animosity. Obviously, I'm not trying to poke the bear, but it's gonna be more towards Patriots fans, towards Giants fans. We have no reason to be angry at your team. I think Patriots fans will probably still always have a little hate in their heart for the 18-1 season because that was a historic season that went off the rails at the end. But I think we would probably get along less Yankees Red Sox than Giants Patriots because we only play each other now once every 4 years.
Now, it's funny though, because I have after what the Giants did to the Patriots twice in the Super Bowl, I have a healthy respect for that organization. It took a dude. Let's be honest. It took a lot of balls to go in there in that first Super Bowl. I mean, you're facing the 17, 16 and 0, 7, and you're facing an undefeated Patriots
18 and
team.
0. You're 18
It
and
was
0.
17 and 0 going into
18.
that game, right?
The Super Bowl,
18 and
you're
0,
18
right?
and 0.
18 and 0 going
Mhm.
into that game. It took a lot of balls to man up and just like that was what they did to them in that first Super Bowl was that game plan was perfect. And people forget about the regular season when they played. Like
Week 17.
they almost beat them in the regular season too.
Yeah, I don't want to stay on this subject too long, but that week 17, people don't realize how important that was because the Patriots said before the game, a couple days before the game, we're playing all our players. They even though they had nothing to play for, and there was criticism towards the Giants playing their starters because the Giants had nothing to play for. So Michael Strahan before the game gave a big speech
I
about.
remember the quote. I remember this quote from Strahan.
Go ahead.
He said in a nutshell he basically said we're playing to win the game. We don't care about what like any of the outside noise. It was we're playing to win the game. I don't know. I don't remember it verbatim, but I remember him saying that we play to win. Like we don't care. We don't care about the
Yeah,
outside noise.
we got nothing to play for. They got nothing to play for, and it fired up the team and
Yeah.
almost beating them gave them the confidence that eventually we would see in Super Bowl 42. And look, I'm not a Tom Brady fan, but to say he's not the GOAT or at least one of the greatest quarterbacks of all time, you have to concede that. But any great quarterback under pressure is going to struggle. And the Giants' defense that year, that front four was just ridiculous.
Oh, dude, it was their front four was phenomenal that year. That was the play from them is such a huge reason why they they went on that run.
Yeah, well, really, why they won both Super Bowls? They were able to pressure Tom Brady and let him not be the GOAT.
I know. So, but just yeah. So like just to real quick with it. Like I said, I have a healthy respect for that because that took like not only did they do it once, but then they did it they in the
Same
same
manner.
fashion too. The final
Yeah.
drive, just like I mean, like let's be perfectly honest. Eli was nails both of those
Yeah.
drives, just nails, just like like ice water for in his veins, dude. Just cold hearted, right down the field, and it was both of those drives were masterful at the end of
Yeah.
those games.
I mean, well, let's be honest. Those two games are probably going to be what puts him in the Hall of Fame because otherwise he's not
Oh,
a Hall of
no
Famer.
doubt.
And I'll admit that.
No doubt. Those two Super Bowls and what he did to that, yeah, would are going to easily put him in the Super Bowl. I mean,
I'm Hall of Fame.
in the Hall of Fame easily. They should. They were the only team they were the only team that could do that to the Pats. Like that was impressive.
Yeah.
All right, man. So let's
Let's
jump
do
right
it.
into this. How long have you been on YouTube now?
December 2006, so officially 14 years.
Now all right. So let's start with that. How did uh, how did you get started on this platform here, man? Because I know it's different from how you are now.
Oh, it's very different.
So go ahead.
This might be a little long story, so I'm sorry. So back in the early 2000s, I played Dungeons and Dragons with a group of friends, and we would go to New Hampshire once a year, and a buddy of mine would make some voyeuristic videos, to say the least, of girls on the beach. And then later it would just be 5 to 10 minutes of girls on the beach, hot girls on the beach. And I was like, what if I wrapped a movie around that? Like, I'll make a short movie, have a scene like that in the middle, and then finish the movie. So I started making low budget, or actually no budget, independent movies with those voyeuristic scenes in the middle. In 2003, the first movie I ever did was They Live Again, which was a sequel to the movie with They Live with Roddy Piper and Keith David.
Yeah.
Started doing that. I found about YouTube in 2006. I think YouTube came out in 2005. I'm like, hey, maybe I can start putting my content up there. And I did. And Bobby, it sucked. I mean, originally when I uploaded the movies, they were broken up into 8 chapters. So it was 8 different videos. And I tell people this that are like ready to give up on YouTube, from 2006 to 2016, Whackbag Films, which was the name of my movie company, had 16 subscribers, which is an Andrew Tice Clay word I learned, whackbag, which means something dirty. I didn't know at the time. I was like, whackbag, how about Whackbag Films? And around the end of 2016, I would start doing sports content for the first time. And I discovered reaction videos were really popular. So November 12th, 2016, I still remember the date, Conor McGregor fought dude for the light heavyweight title. I can't remember. Eddie Alvarez.
Alvarez.
We live streamed a reaction video for the main event from Hooters. And we got like 3,000 or 4,000 views, which for my channel at that point, I was like, holy crap, this is great. So started doing that. And how far do you want me to keep going?
Go ahead, keep going, man. Take us all the way up to the present. Go for it.
Oh, wow. All right. So started doing that, started doing WWE reactions too. Goldberg came back at the Survivor Series in November 2016.
I remember that.
Catching a little bit of an audience with that. And then January rolled around. I'm like, you know what? I also like death metal. Music reactions seemed kind of popular. So I started reacting to death metal, which is a very niche genre. So now you got a channel with crappy independent films, death metal reactions, UFC and WWE. The channel was kind of all over the place, which where my current channel is now. We'll wrap that up in a second. And over the next year and a half, my channel eventually became the death metal reaction, where that was predominantly what was pushing the channel. And I got to about 1,300 subscribers. But as a Christian, and I'm openly a Christian on my channel, I don't push it, but if people ask or they see my music, they can obviously tell. I was covering a lot of, shall we say, satanic bands as well, and that started to kind of make me feel like, this channel's getting to become something I don't want it to be, Bobby. It's kind of getting a little dark.
Heading in a direction that you didn't want it to.
Yeah, so eventually I was like, I eventually pulled the plug on it. I had a little music channel after that briefly, which didn't do anything, and then at the beginning of 2019, in January, I started a channel called Stuck in the 80s, which was dedicated to 80s film reviews.
That's where I found you. I found you when you had Stuck in the 80s.
So I did the Stuck in the 80s and the whole Ricardo Schwarzenegger thing. And of course, nobody knew if my hair was real or not. That was really funny. It was really a wig, but a lot of people thought maybe the hair was real. And the odd thing was, to people in the chat, I was hanging out with sports channels. I had discovered the Entertainer Talking Sports and a bunch of other guys. Met you there, OGR Sports, who's a real life friend now. And as I was hanging out with these sports channels, it's like, I'm a movie channel, retro movie channel, hanging out in sports channels. How in the world am I ever, I'm not going to grow viewers like this.
You're going to break into that market.
How am I going to break? And I remember talking to the Entertainer Talking Sports, and I always credit him for this. We did a stream together, and after the stream, we were chatting, and I was like, I don't think I could keep people engaged for 2.5 to 3 hours. And he said, well, I think you could. I was like, why don't I try a sports channel? So I created the Sports Reaction, April 6, 2019, right in the midst of the NBA playoffs, right when the NBA playoffs started. You're a little fuzzy, Bobby.
Oh, hold on a sec.
Oh.
No, it'll fix itself.
Oh, okay.
I usually, I'll be back.
All right.
Keep going. Go for it.
So I started the Sports Reaction, April 6th, TSR. and started doing some NBA playoff games and started blowing up, if you will. Not huge, but I was getting a lot of subscribers in the NBA playoffs. And I hit 1,000 subscribers after 30 days, which for me, I was like, holy crap, monetized within 5 weeks. And did that all last year. And the channel's gone through a lot of variety on what I covered last year. I was strictly live streaming sports. It was doing way too much. I was a salad bowl of sports. I was doing Premier League. If it was a sport, I was covering it. I was doing golf, tennis, and that became way too much. And the channel is now more similar to what you're doing.
Yeah.
I'm now focused on the San Antonio Spurs, the United States Women's National Team, and the UFC. Now, I'm a Giants and Yankees fan. I've gone on record saying this numerous times. I just don't enjoy calling those games live. They're just long. I'd rather watch a Giants game than call. I will continue to call them with OGR Sports on his channel. The Giants content will be probably very limited for me moving forward because it's too much. Trying to stay on news every single day for a team is difficult, and I chose the Spurs to do that.
Yeah.
It just worked out where when I did the Giants content, I was a needle in a haystack. Apparently now with the Spurs, I'm a haystack instead of a needle. But I've also incorporated some of the old stuff I did. My band is still on there.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm doing music videos once a month and once every other month. But Stuck in the 80s is back. But what I did was instead of just re-uploading the reviews, I took a whole bunch of the movies I did in that independent movie channel I told you about and cropped them down into fake movie trailers and renamed them. And people are getting a kick out of them. For the small amount of people that are watching them, they're getting a kick out of them. So it's really become TSR Sports and Entertainment. It's probably the most fun I've had now in a long time because now I'm just doing stuff I really enjoy. And if you're enjoying it, your audience is going to enjoy it. There you go. That's a long-winded history of TSR Sports and Entertainment, but the struggle was real, man. I struggled on YouTube for 13 years.
It's always, and you know what, it's always tough trying to find that you have to find your like niche and your like where you have to find where you fit in, man. It's you have to find, yeah, like that's tough, dude. That's but once you find what you're that niche and what you're good at and where you fit, it's kind of just you roll, it just rolls from there. And it's you're getting close. Are you at 10,000? You recently crossed 10,000,
500
right?
something. I'm close to 10,000. I might hit 10,000 by the end of the year. When the Spurs come back, that'll be a chance to pick up some subs. But I'm close. And the cool thing is, with the three sports I'm covering predominantly on my channel, I realize those are global appeal.
Oh yeah.
The NBA, Spurs and the NBA are global. The UFC is global, more so than I've ever realized. More, I mean, it's getting huge across the globe. And the United States Women's National Team, whether you love them or hate them, is a global thing too. So I mean, that's kind of cool. It wasn't on purpose; it just worked out that way.
Yeah, no, absolutely. It's the global market is, you don't, yeah, like it's fascinating that like I never realized that, you know, I mean, I guess it makes sense, but like you said, when you're covering these sports and dude, people are watching from like not only the US but all over the globe, dude. It's fascinating and cool at the same, like it's just at the same time it's just cool that it's such a massive it's such a massive platform and market that it extends out that far.
And that's why I like. I mean, I've always told folks the reason I like doing it the most is interacting with people in chat. No, obviously, I'm not interacting much with the people chat here, but when I'm calling an event and talking with people or talking with people in comments on my videos, that's what gets me going. And with like Giants and Yankees content, that was just never there because there's just 8 million content creators for both. But doing tons of Spurs content over the last 3 weeks and really growing that part of my channel and talking to people from all over the world that are Spurs fans, and like, this is really cool. Like, see who they should be in the starting lineup or what they think's happening with the roster, who they should draft, who they should trade. And that's why I love doing this, talking to people, talking to other fans. Because living in Connecticut, Bobby, Spurs fans are kind of not really a thing here.
Yeah, so let's that was gonna be my next question. So the three teams that you, or the area, the sports that you focus on are football, basketball, and then you do the UFC, right?
And by football, soccer.
Yeah.
Yes, those are the three sports I'm moving forward. Those are the three I'm most focused on.
Gonna focus on. So how did you, living in Connecticut, how did you become a Spurs fan?
So I'm a Giants and Yankees fan. Obviously, Yankees are Giants hat.
Yep.
It was I did a video on this. I ended up deleting because nobody cared about it. I was getting into the NBA somewhere around 1990, and I was at a Rite Aid or a Walgreens, and I saw 90-91 hoops, which is like the most overproduced basketball card set ever, and it's worth garbage. And I look at the box, and the Rookie of the Year card is David Robinson. I was like, who dis? So I bought a bunch of packs hoping to pull his card because it's like, that's cool, Rookie of the Year card. And I get the card, I look at his stats, I'm like, all right, this is a cool, this dude's jacked because David Robinson back in the day was ripped beyond belief. So I'm like, all right, this guy's got the superhero physique, played really good in his first year. I like the uniforms, number 50, cool. Let me check this team out. And that's really how I became a Spurs fan. I didn't know anything about the NBA, didn't even know who Michael Jordan was. I knew who Larry Bird was from living in Massachusetts, and Kevin McHale from being on Cheers. So I knew a few Boston players, but I never gravitated towards the local teams. And I just did a little research on David Robinson, started following the team in either late 90 or 91, and next thing you know, I became hooked, and then I've been a Spurs fan ever since. And it wasn't all good times. People are calling me bandwagon. I'm like, it was tough being a Spurs fan until Tim Duncan got there, because David Robinson is my favorite athlete of all time. And year after year, it was make it to the playoffs and playoff and get bounced. He was carrying the team every year too.
Duncan changed when they got to play together. Duncan is the piece that changed that he changed that franchise. That was a generational player there.
Robinson was too. In his defense, the problem was when you look at his teammates, he had Sean Elliott.
No help around him.
Yeah, no help. Sean Elliott was a decent player. He had Dennis Rodman for 2 years, but the 2 years Dennis Rodman was there, he was a complete offensive liability, averaging 4 points a game.
Yeah.
You need a legit number 2 scorer, and the Spurs never quite had that before Tim Duncan. I mean, you look at Jordan had Scottie Pippen. LeBron's always got somebody with him wherever he goes. Dwayne Wade in Miami, Anthony Davis with LA. When he's won titles, he's had a legit second scorer. Most championship teams do. They have number 1 and number 2, and David was a great two-way player. He was their best offensive player and best defensive player. He was the team, and that you can only do that for so long, and then it's not going to work, and it didn't work.
Yeah,
Tony Poker, not quite, man. Tony Parker, Tony Poker.
Yeah, no, it was for that. Go ahead.
I want to answer a question here. So Valhalla Sports Talk, one of your members, by the way, props to be a member.
Yes.
You get big numbers for the U.S. men's national team and U.S. women's national team. So just for the record, I don't cover the men's team. My live streams have done okay, but I haven't done a lot because the women haven't played in ages. And when they finally play again, it's overseas and the game's when I'm working. So that makes it very difficult to cover them. My videos are a little hit and miss with the U.S. women's national team. My Priest videos do well, which is Kristen Priest and Tobin Heath, because they're a couple.
Yeah.
But my biggest video I've ever done on my channel is a U.S. women's national team video.
When they were playing in the She Believes Cup, right?
Yep, they played in She Believes Cup. I did a video about them losing to the U15 Dallas boys team. And if you search any type of U.S. women lose to the U15 or beat by any type of wording on that, I'm the first one that always comes up on Google. The video's got 325,000 views, and it's still getting 1,000 a day.
Yeah.
A lot of people hate my take on it, which is why it has 1,500 thumbs down. But a lot of people love my take on it, which is why it has over 4,000 thumbs up. And my perspective basically was the game didn't count, so they didn't really lose. And it really triggers a lot of people. And it wasn't intentional. That's the thing about it, Bobby. I was just being honest and just
it wasn't even like a friendly. It wasn't
even a friendly. It was just like a scrimmage. That was a developmental thing for the boys team. But people always point it out, and people love to point that out with the equal pay stuff that's happening with the U.S. women's national team. So I know for sure in January when that equal pay lawsuit gets settled or dismissed or whatever it is, that video is just going to blow up again because people love to just troll the United States women's national team. So it's a very much love-hate with that team.
And dude, the U.S. women's national team is really good. Like
they're the best in the world by far. It's not even close.
Yeah.
So there you go. Sorry, I wanted to address that. So it is my biggest content I've ever done on the channel. Go figure. I would never have thought that in a million years. I would have said Giants. Giants are actually my worst content.
It's tough to cover a struggling sports team in a big market. It definitely is.
It's not. Well, the Spurs aren't very good right now, and I don't mind. I'm enjoying covering them left and right, and they're a small market. It's to do well covering a team, you've got to be consistent with your content. And when I was covering 4 different teams at once, trying to do daily, I'm looking every day. I would search U.S. Women's National Team, San Antonio Spurs, New York Yankees,
Yeah.
and New York Giants, looking for something a video to do on them. And the problem is, and it's not necessarily a problem, but there are a lot of huge Giants content creators out there. Tons more that do. There are Giants content creators that do videos every single day, which I just can't do. So if news breaks and you got 5 channels that are bigger than me, New York Giants subscriber base or more,
Yeah.
people aren't going to want to hear my opinion if they've already heard 2, 3, 4, or 5 people's opinions on it already.
Mm.
So it's just
Parts of the struggles of YouTube.
yeah. So you have to, you want, obviously, if we're doing this, we want to grow our channel, you and me both. We want the videos to do well, but you want to enjoy it. And just over the last few weeks, the Spurs have been something I've enjoyed. People have enjoyed it. People are telling me I'm the best Spurs content creator on YouTube. I will never say that. I'm never going to say that. But if I can go into next year,
I think they're going to surprise some people this year. I think the Spurs, being a young team, I think people's expectations of them are going to be because of the youth. I think they're going to be curious to see how that team can do with Pop. I think they're going to surprise some people. I really do.
People forget they were 5-3 in the bubble, and in games that counted, they were 5-2. They're a very young team, and I went over the schedule today. There are a lot of back-to-back games on that NBA schedule. And people like LeBron James.
Yeah, I saw your video. They must be playing games as locally as they, they're trying to keep the movement to a minimum.
Yeah. But older players, LeBron James, no spring chicken, low management, Kawhi Leonard.
Yeah.
Those older players or players that dealt with injuries a lot, that's going to affect them over the long haul, where Spurs have 10-plus guys that are 25 or under, teams that are young like the Spurs, Pelicans. I think those type of teams are going to surprise people. They're going to be ready to go.
Yeah.
Young.
Yeah. I really do. Like I said, they're definitely a dark horse team for me in the West that could surprise some people. Especially, I think the shortened season is going to work in their favor.
I think so. 72 games. If they were 5-3 last year with the up-tempo offense, which Greg Popovich has already said he's going to do again.
Yeah.
8 times 9 is 72. That has the Spurs finishing 45-27 if they play just like they did last year, which is a playoff team. Now that's tempering the expectations a little too high, but I think they surprise people. And if they don't, I'll still be rooting for them either way. But whatever.
Pop is a phenomenal coach too.
Yeah.
You can never underestimate that.
He's smart enough to know he's got to change. He said he's like, what we're doing is not working. We're not a playoff team. Got to change it. So it'll be fun.
So
what other questions do you have, my man?
That's a good segue into the next one. So I want to talk, being a sports content creator, and you watch all different, the UFC, the Giants, the Spurs. What are some of your favorite sporting moments that you've got to see? It can
just
be
my channel or in my life.
It can be lifetime too. What are some of your favorite sporting moments you've got to see?
Okay, so not to bring up a sore subject, but Super Bowl 42 was extra special, not because of the game. We don't have to talk about the David Tyree catch. Everything's documented what happened in the game. But here, something I don't know if I've ever shared with you. So I was living in Virginia when the Giants played the Patriots in SB 42. As a joke, I texted my buddy AJ, hey, I'll be up there for the game. As in, I'll be up there with all my buddies to watch Super Bowl 42.
Mm-hmm.
Well, after I texted him that, he went and told all my friends, hey, Rich is coming up to Massachusetts to Connecticut to watch the Super Bowl with us. I'm in Fredericksburg, Virginia at the time. That's a 450-mile drive. So I ended up coming up back to New England in 2008 for the Super Bowl. And I'm at my buddy's house. Me, my buddy Ken was rooting for the Giants because he's a Vikings fan, and that everybody else in that house was Patriots fans.
Attaboy.
So you can see where this is going. That's kind of extra special. the gasp with the Tyree catch, and then when the touchdown at the end, the Patriots fans is literally all like, we might lose this game. It's like, because no, they didn't believe in the Giants. They weren't following him. One person that was a Patriots fan, literally was a Giants fan the whole time I knew him, and then that year became a Patriots fan. Just switched over. I was like, really? So that is one of my favorite sporting moments, because not only the Super Bowl, Eli's first Super Bowl, an incredible underdog Super Bowl, but sharing it with friends that didn't expect to, and sharing that moment was cool. I mean, my buddy that's a Vikings fan even gave me a hug. He jumped up. We did, the bro hug on the Eli touchdown at the end, because it was really awesome. Another great sporting moment for me was when David Robinson played his last game and the Spurs won the 2003 NBA championship. To see my idol growing up kind of turn back the clock a little in that game, 13 points, 17 boards, and go out on top. A lot of times we see athletes play too long and they're just a real shell of them former selves, or they leave teams. I mean, if I was a Patriots fan, I'd be very bummed out Tom Brady's not going to retire Patriot, because he's done so much for the franchise and now he's gone elsewhere. Same thing with Jordan and the Bulls. Those 2 years with the Wizards, Tony Parker went and played with the Hornets for 1 year. I hate it when you have somebody that spent a decade or 15 years with a franchise and then they go play that 1 or 2 years somewhere else. So to see my guy play his whole career with one team and win a title, that was just, man, that was awesome, dude. Probably two of my favorite moments. I can tell you my least favorite moment was the 2004 playoffs when the Red Sox came back.
I was just gonna say now how about some of your least favorite, or least favorite sporting moments that you've had to experience being a fan?
Definitely Yankees and the Red Sox. That comes from the 2004.
Yep.
Oh, yep. Because that ended the curse too. The whole 1918.
Mm-hmm. Yep. Because now you guys now you can't even chant that anymore.
Yeah, nothing. So that's one. When the Giants lost to the Ravens in Super Bowl 34 or 31, they lost 34-7. It was a total shellac. I don't even know the Super Bowl number because I try to forget it. And then this last one's for Ray Allen when the Heat beat the Spurs in the NBA Finals. He hit that. I was never more mad at Greg Popovich, because the last minute of that game, Bobby, in Game 6, he kept taking Tim Duncan out on the defensive side.
Yeah.
Because they awarded that of an intentional foul. He wasn't the greatest free throw shooter, so they put somebody else in. I don't remember who. And of course, the Heat secure an offensive rebound, kick it out to Ray Allen, hits the three. Spurs end up losing that game. They lose Game 7, series is over. And I truly think if Tim Duncan stayed in that game the whole last minute and was helping rebound, Spurs may have won it.
Yeah.
So that was probably
they were in fear of him fouling out and them not being able to use him. That's
got to keep your. He's one of the greatest players of all time.
At that point in the game, though, it's like you have to. He's the best player on the court. You have to.
Exactly. He's one of the greatest power forwards of all time, if not the greatest. And you're putting him on the bench in the last minute. I did not agree with that, and it ended up backfiring.
It did. All right, man. Now, so we kind of hit on it a little earlier. So, I want to talk about the challenges of doing what we do and the things that you, and so what do you think that's challenging about doing what we do? And what do you think what are your favorite like rewards that come out of it? Like what do you like and what do you dislike about being a YouTuber?
What do I dislike about being a YouTuber? Nothing.
Or what do you think is challenging about
challenging? I would
doing
say
what we do. You can start with whatever one you want, man.
Moving forward, the most challenging thing is going to be I think live streaming is going to be the biggest issue, because when I started in April last year, there were a lot of people doing it, but it seems like over the last year, more and more people are live streaming than ever before. I constantly see channels I've never heard of. And we talked about this a little before the stream. There's a new wave of streamers coming on where they're not actually calling play-by-play. I'm going to call a spade. They're literally stealing the audio, and it is stealing, guys. It literally says before the NFL broadcast, video and audio is copyrighted by the NFL. They're just sitting there watching the game while Joe Buck and Troy Aikman call the game for them. And they'll react here and there. You got the little scoreboard up. But for people like you and I that actually are doing our own play-by-play, if more of these channels start coming out, I don't know how that's going to affect live streaming. Is that going to, I think it's going to hurt. But you made a good point. Why watch one of those channels if you can just watch the game? The whole point, I think, that people come to watch you and the Patriots or me and the Spurs is there's passion, there's emotion there. When something bad happens, you're very animated about it. You're calling the whole game. I think that's the biggest challenge is growing live streams right now with this over the next year with this type of content showing up more and more. And then, of course, there's always the challenge of just search engine optimization. Like, which thumbnail should I use? How should I label this video? Which keywords should I use? Because sometimes I'll use some keywords on a video and it'll get a ton of views. I'll do a very similar type of video and use the same keywords. And the other video is a better video. So that's the biggest challenge. Trying to grow non-sports content has been
Constantly
very difficult.
I think constantly staying on top of the algorithm is a weak, like is a battle in itself. Just constantly trying to stay in the algorithm.
The next one's going to be a challenge into a reward. Growing my non-sports content has been very difficult. That would be stuck in the 80s movie reviews, which I love doing no matter what. That's just fun. And then my band, Eternity Shore, cheap plugs. But where it's rewarding is it hasn't really happened with stuck in the 80s stuff at all. But one of my music videos has over 1,000 views. I know that's nothing in YouTube land, but to have a song I actually wrote and created, not a cover, because covers you usually can get sometimes good views on, but having a song I wrote get a decent amount or break 1,000 views, that was actually very rewarding because it wasn't me doing play-by-play cover. It's just a song I wrote that people have listened to, and I've got a couple other videos that are on the verge of cracking 1,000. I'm like, you know what? That's the one cool thing about having non-sports content, and this is not a knock to sports content at all because I obviously do it.
Yeah, you blend the two.
I blend the two, but sports content has a shelf life. If I do a news story about Derek White being injured, which he is right now, that has a very limited shelf life. People are not going to click on that video a year from now. There's no reason to. It's not relevant. If I do a video about players being traded, it's relevant right now. A year from now, who cares?
Yeah.
Whereas music and movies are more timeless, which is why I like having that content there. That's stuff that could catch on in 6 months, a year, 2 years, maybe never. But it has rewatchability, whereas my sports content is here and now. And I think that's why I like having different things because I have a foundation with the non-sports content that'll always be there. Might never take off, but who knows? Then the sports content's always for the here and now.
Yeah, absolutely.
And rewarding too is, let's be honest, we all want to get views. Might not do it because of views, but when I know when you first had 1,000 people in your stream, I'm sure you were like, "This is awesome.
This is kind of cool."
This is kind of cool. And that when for me, I had struggled with the UFC since I started my channel. It started picking up a little bit after I did Colby Covington versus Tyron Woodley, and then me and OGR Sports did Khabib Nurmagomedov versus Justin Gaethje.
Yeah.
And to stop the video and see it had over 200,000 views, I was like, what? And to have 3,500 people in the chat. I mean, that's just when I see the chat when somebody says, "Who do you think is going to win?" And next thing you know, I can't read the chat.
And then you can't read it. Yeah,
because people are like typing Gaethje or Khabib. It's just when it's flying by, it's like that's just awesome. At that point, I don't care if I'm making a little extra money, whatever. It's like, this is cool. I can't even read the chat. And that's the most rewarding thing. And I've openly said that I would love to be the first out of us smaller YouTubers to have a video get 1 million views. Because I just want to see those 7 numbers. I just want to see 1 mil somewhere on my channel. And that would be really cool. I mean, that will probably happen with the national team video in 3 years, but I don't want to wait 3 years.
You know what I think it is too? It's rewarding to see that when the views do like come up and you do start, like it's rewarding. Like it's rewarding for us because it's like you look at it and it's like you just like, to me it's like the last couple like you look at it and you just go, I can't believe this many people are like just here to see me do what I do like that's just the part where it's rewarding for us to do that.
Oh, Yoel Romero and UFC have parted ways. my yellow Romero. But no, it is rewarding. I mean, I know people get off on super chats, and I don't do this for the money. I'm very candid and honest. I don't do this for money. I don't like it.
Most of us don't. Most of us don't do like we do it because we love what we the team like we're passionate about the
Yeah.
teams that we cover.
I mean, I thought
And
about spending.
it's a you know what it is? It's a nice added extra knowing that people support they find it they find the content good enough to do that to actually give you so you know whether it's with memberships or whether it's just coming in with a suit like the fact that they're willing to spend their money like their money is and support the channel like in the to support the channel is it's great like it's nice to see that like that's it is it
I'm mixed. I'm mixed on that one.
I just think it's an added extra.
It's an
That's what
added extra. I
it's a
mean,
nice little added extra.
as I'm on the hot seat, I've thought about turning super chats off numerous times on my channel. Not because I'm anything special. I'm not rich, although my name is Rich. But I've told people, openly that I'm gonna, I saved up a lot growing up. No kids, no wife, so my house is paid off. My cars are paid off.
Yeah.
When I see somebody super chat, I'm like, I'm in a good financial position. What if they're not? And that would make me feel bad. But I also have to realize I'm like, it's not up to me how people spend their money. If they think, they really enjoy what I'm doing and say, hey, put this into the channel, which I've done. I've bought lighting. The laptop
Yeah.
we're
Oh
using
yeah.
right now, the laptop I'm using was bought just for the channel because I wanted better video editing. I'm like, you know
Yeah.
what? I want to do more. And you've probably seen some of the videos where the Sarah Fuller video where she's kicking the poop emoji,
Yeah.
or
Yeah.
where I had Mike Tyson fighting, or not. I had Donald Trump fighting LeBron James in the boxing. We're like, I can do more. I'm
Yes.
learning more and more, but I can do much more than I ever could on the old laptop.
Yeah.
Um, I'm sorry about the team at TMI with the house and stuff. I'm like, it makes me sometimes step back. I'm like, should I turn super chats off? Because yes, sure, extra money is nice, but I don't need it. But on the other hand, it's not up to me to tell people how they spend their money. So
Yeah.
I've truly been conflicted on that for like the last 6 months.
I've just like it's like I said. I just it's nice. It's just nice to see. What's up, Scottzilla? It's just nice to see that. Well, it's just I shouldn't say that. It's humbling to see that they're willing to just like because I'm not a big channel and I'm not like a big shot. Um, but like I make enough to be financially comfortable and I don't like I'm fortunate enough that I don't struggle a lot financially and and it's just it's humbling to see that people are more than willing to just say here man here's some money appreciate what you do and thank you and it is like the best word I can just put to it is it's just humbling dude it's I'm just thankful that they do it like
I I'm right there with them. I mean, I remember when I started this channel, I was using an overhead light, and
mm-hmm
my lighting sucked. I remember talking one night. I was like, I really got to get an umbrella light from like Amazon. I was like, okay, they're $30. I'll have to get one of those, soon for the channel. And we're literally within 3 minutes. Jomar Reyes dropped $50 on a super chat and said, "Here's your light." And I was like, I mean, something like that, just like actually, that actually touched me right here. I was like, seriously, man. And I did do it. There it is. There's the umbrella light. Bought it, that night off Amazon. It's a huge light.
yeah
I'm here. I'm here. Don't worry. But when people actually just, care that much, it's like, man, it is any super chat. When somebody drops 99 cents to $50 or whatever they may drop, it's like, yeah. On one hand, I do struggle with it, which I mentioned, I honestly do. On
yeah
the other hand, like, they care enough and let's see something in the channel. Because while I'm not spending a lot of money on the channel outside of my cable bill, UFC pay-per-views cost $65. And my goal always has been have the channel income just cover my expenses. And
mm-hmm
the ad revenue is finally at a point where the ad revenue is exceeding what my expenses are. But still, it is very humbling. And I'm like, you know what? If people want to do it, I'll keep it on for now. If my ad revenue someday gets out of control, like in a good way, I
yeah
would shut them off. But I would need probably 1 million subscribers for that. And I'm kind of a ways away from that.
yeah yeah It's another I think aspect of YouTube that I think all of us can agree on. It's the at least for me. I don't. I mean, I'll the camaraderie between the sports content creators is there's a lot. I mean, there's some rivalry. There's some people that there's some rivalries within the sports community, but for the most part, like, dude, how many of us we all communicate, we all talk off camera. It's like most of us tend to help. We all tend to help each other out if we need advice or need advice for anything like that. If we're struggling with something, or if something's like if something's not going right on for the stream, or if we need to adjust. So like I feel like most of us. I don't know how you feel, but I feel like most of us are like, it doesn't really matter the team, but like we're kind of in a niche, and we help each other out.
I would say my experience has been 99% positive with the sports community. There are a lot of people out there that, and the people I love working with, the most of the people that just love doing this because they enjoy it. And
Yeah,
I would say
absolutely.
three type of content creators. There's people that do it because they enjoy doing it,
Yep.
people that enjoy doing it and it's a business, or people
Mm-hmm.
that look at it just as a business. And I stay away from those because I mean, you can tell the channels that just do it for fun. Those are the channels I like engaging with. And I've always tried to be very helpful. OGR, I've tried to get him trying to get him to 1,000, which he's got to, and it's because of his own merits he got it. But I would always say, hey, try this tag or try this thumbnail, try this title, just whatever I could do. If you've ever had a question, I
Yeah.
certainly don't know if I've answered any questions ever, but I know somebody's asked me about Goose. I've helped Goose out with his scoreboard using online score counter.
I would definitely agree. 99% of the time, it's been
Yeah,
overwhelmingly positive between
totally positive.
asking for advice, and just anything. Yeah, any type of questions about equipment or OBS or anything like that. It's been overwhelmingly positive.
But making real life friends on YouTube is something I did not expect, because OGR does live 20 minutes from me, and we have hung out and have played Magic the Gathering have played Magic the Gathering. So we've actually done stuff in real life. And if we weren't having the 1-9 right now, I'm sure you, me, and him would like to get together at some point too, because you're in the state right next to us. Unfortunately,
Dude, I've looked, like, literally the Hartford is an hour and a half drive, a 2 hour drive for me.
yeah, and where you are up around the Cape is, yeah.
But
Where
that's what I
people
mean.
that
So
travel right.
it's not a far fetched idea to say that when this is all blown over, that there's probably going to be some meet and greets. And
Heck yeah, yeah, definitely.
but once again though, man. So do you have other forms of social media, right, where people can you post? Do you post anything on Twitter, or do you?
I generally only post my live streams on the Twitters.
Yeah,
Live streams go up on the Twitters. My Instagram, I'll randomly put up a photo. The
yeah,
one that popped in my head was like, I put up a picture of my Mustang
yeah,
after it rained, and I put a caption like, "She likes to get wet." So,
yeah.
so I'll
I
put
love
goofy
it.
stuff up like that on my Instagram. I am on Facebook, but that's friends only.
Yeah,
I just
yeah,
at some point you got to keep some of your private life, I think, away from
yeah.
uh,
The spotlight. Yeah,
the spotlight, if you will. But then there's other YouTubers that the entertainer, his real name has been out there since like day one. I've known what his name is. Whereas I don't think anybody knows my last name. I don't know your last name. I just it's just call me what's your full name? The Sports Reaction. First, middle, last. There you go. I mean, just like
yeah, 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 yeah. No, I hear you. But I appreciate you coming on, man. Sitting and hanging out with me and doing a little interview. I appreciate that, man.
anytime.
Um, so guys, Rich's link is going to be in the description of this video. I will put his link, and you can go check him out.
I do want to ask you a question before we wrap up.
Go for it.
You cover 4 teams for New England,
Yep.
from favorite to least to call play-by-play for.
Patriots, Bruins. I dude, I grew up with contact sports, so
Okay.
football and hockey are my two favorite. Celtics, And I would say even like the Bruins and the Celtics are pretty close to being like like both of those are a lot of fun. Um, and then the Red Sox are last, and I just like don't get me wrong, I support the Red Sox, and I've always followed them since I was in t-ball. I've always been a Red Sox fan. It's I've felt like over the years baseball itself has just gotten real tough to follow.
Yeah.
The length of the games is especially if you're a streamer like we are. Like a lot of people know this, but if you don't know, like I have two big umbrella lights. I have a green screen behind me, and I have I and not and then you add on top of the yeah you add the stuff that you have to program into OBS, for the streams, like the backgrounds and to build if you build your own scoreboard, like you and like if you build your own scoreboard, it's so like the game might be 3.5 hours, right? Yeah, the game might be 3.5 hours.
My green screen.
Yeah, you know what I mean. The game might be 3.5 hours, but like it takes me a half hour to set the green screen and the lights up, and then another probably hour to put all the tags and all the metadata, the
Yeah.
stuff that puts you into the algorithm, into all this, into the OBS and everything like that. It's a it's just a project, dude. And then on top of this, 99% of us work, we work day jobs too. So
Yeah.
it's, I work 45, 50 hours a week. And then on top of this, on top of the 40, 50 hour week, we do this on top of it. It's an additional, it's an additional thing. Like that's an additional 5 or 6, sometimes 6 hours of time and effort into whatever you're doing. And then I got to get up in the morning and do my regular my day job. So it's just an added aspect of everything. And it's so when you do get those streams that hit and the numbers start rolling in, and it's like it's a driving force, because it's just like, wow, that the 3 hours of sleep I'm gonna get tonight feel a little better when I mean, it feels a little better when you see that type of support rolling through.
I want to address something real quick that Valhalla Sports Talk said. He said he saw a stat to the average basketball game versus baseball game. The difference is like 6 minutes. Here's what I'll say. The basketball stats can be skewered by playoff games and nationally televised games, because if you do an NBA stream for a Lakers game at 9 o'clock, tip-off is not until 9:15 most of the time.
Yeah, they're 10 to 15 minutes behind.
Yeah, being a Spurs fan, I usually start my streams only 5 minutes before the game time, and then they tip off. If it's an 8:30 game, I'll start at 8:25. Tip-offs are like 8:37. But usually, because it's not a nationally televised game, my streams are under 2.5 hours, where I have never done a Yankees game under 3 hours, ever, on my channel. Never. At least 3 hours. Some 4, some pushing 5. No.
Yeah, I feel like baseball is tough because of this the speed at which it's played. The other three, football, basketball, and hockey, are it's a constant. You know what I mean? I think baseball, dude. You could eat a sandwich, take a dump, watch a movie, and come back, and it would be the third inning.
Now, I'll say this about hockey. One of the besides I suck calling it, admittedly, and I don't have a team. When I did the Stanley Cup last year on my channel, when I was doing a little bit of everything,
Yeah,
I had no idea I was going to start my stream at 7:55. The game started at 8 p.m., but that puck didn't drop till 8:25.
yeah. Counting all the sometimes I've felt usually the NHL usually is within 5 minutes of said time, but sometimes if it's a playoff game, like they sing the national anthem. You know,
Both.
sometimes they'll even sing two national anthems, the
Yep.
Canadian and the U.S. And you add all, just the pregame stuff, like all of the, especially if they're doing
Tighten Up Sports put a Connecticut address in the chat. That's very odd. Is that Tighten Up Sports? Are you sharing your own address?
weird.
I'm sorry. I just did not expect to see an address. It's a single family home for sale, apparently. Thanks for sharing that. Bob, you looking for a home in Avon?
No, I think I'll stick right where I'm at on the South Shore on the
Anyway, and I'll stay on the other side of Connecticut.
I think
Near
I'll
the
stick
river.
I think I'll stick like yeah, I'll stick where I'm at on the beach, man. I will stick where I'm at on the beach.
Are you putting an address in, Pat? I was like, what's the address for? It's for sale on Zillow.
Yeah, Valhalla, I
But,
agree with that. The hockey should speed up this year. Yeah.
well, man, I think we went through all your questions.
We did.
Appreciate you having me on. Keep doing your thing with the Your Patriots content's been growing a lot. I'm very, very happy to see you getting, 1,000 viewers in a stream. I know when that first happened for me, it's just a really cool feeling. Seeing those streams now get 5-digit figures is really cool. Celtics are up
It's
next. Keep
like
doing
I
the
said,
Celtics.
it just happens, dude. Like I don't know what I'm doing, but it just like it's been on a roll. I hope it continues, man. I hope it continues.
It's his house. It's for sale, which I always confirmed. So, Fell, Connecticut, what's up, Titan? I'm not looking to buy a house, though. Sorry.
Yeah, I'll stick where I'm at. Yeah, I like the ocean, so I'll stick where I'm at. My big ass likes to be planted in the sand and drinking beer on the weekends when I'm not
Good
streaming,
deal.
so I'll stick with that. But yeah, man, that's so I appreciate you coming on and just kind of letting people get to know you a little better and shining a little spotlight, putting some. I'm trying to do this but just I want to just talk to everybody in this, a lot of these sports creators and just kind of get their thoughts on why, it's just interesting and to me trying to just hearing what people feel about how they what they do. But I
It's a fun
appreciate it,
hobby.
man.
It's a fun hobby. You can make a little extra on the side.
Yeah, yeah.
Like a win-win.
But once again, though, guys, I think that is all we got for you tonight from the Sports Reaction and Butchers Block and Patriots Talk. We appreciate all of the support that you guys show towards our channels. It is always appreciated and never goes unnoticed. You can count on that. It never goes unnoticed. And we thank you guys for tuning in to this episode 1 of The Hot Seat with the Sports Reaction. TSR Sports and Entertainment. Y'all have a good evening and enjoy the weekend. Peace. We out of here.